Hello, and welcome back to the Point and Quest podcast. I'm Lindsay, and today we're trying something different. For me, podcasts are generally just an audio format, but it seems like more and more they're turning into a hybrid of audio and video. Yeah, let me know what you think. Are you okay with just audio podcasts? Those are certainly easier. But yeah, let me know in the comments or in a message. But let's just get to it. Today, we're embarking on a journey through one of the most influential adventure gaming or gaming series, King's Quest. This series was created by the one and only Roberta Williams and has remained my personal favorite throughout the years. It also really helped to pave the way for narrative driven games, blending fairy tale whimsy with punishing puzzle logic. Now, let me just say that each of the King's Quest games definitely deserves at least one episode of their own. So I do want to eventually go into more of a deep dive through 1 through 8, possibly 8. There's so much history and artistry and bad puns that you just can't fit everything into one episode without it being probably 8 hours long. So today, we're ranking, roasting, and reminiscing on the King's Quest series. Okay, so I just created this tier list on tiermaker.com. I tried to be a little bit whimsical, so I have Fit for a Fairy Tale at the very top, a Royal Decree of Excellence, a Quest Worth Taking, mostly, The Enchanted Mirror is Cracked, and at the very bottom, I have Thrown into the Bottomless Chasm. So I figure we'll just start with King's Quest 1 through 8. Seems pretty logical to me. So our story begins as all great legends do, with a king on his deathbed and a man who owns one outfit. Graham, the most loyal knight in the kingdom of Daventry, is tasked with retrieving 3 magical treasures to restore the land to its former glory. Why? Because King Edward has no heirs and is just really hoping that whoever finds these treasures will be good at monarchy. This game was groundbreaking in 1984. Instead of typing out commands and imagining the action, you could actually move Graham around a fully explorable world. Granted, most of that world was either trying to kill you or contained a puzzle so obtuse it felt like a personal attack. But it was revolutionary nonetheless. The 1990s remake upgraded the graphics and added mouse support, but no matter which version you play, the real challenge is remembering to look everywhere or risk missing something absolutely vital. Historical significance rating, 10 out of 10. Fun factor, let's just say it's a great way to develop patience or anxiety. So I think I'll move it. Oh gosh. I think I'll move it to a quest worth taking, mostly. I mean, I feel like you should always play the first game in the series, but there are better games in the series. Okay, I'll just put it here for now and maybe regret it later. Okay, next we have King's Quest II, Romancing the Throne. This was made in 1985. Romancing the Throne is the age-old tale of boy meets girl. Boy sees girl in a mirror, boy sails across the sea, fights Dracula, climbs a magic tower, and unlocks a portal to heaven? All before even learning her last name. Now that's commitment. So yes, King's Quest II is somehow both simple, save the princess story, and disconnected fairy tale nonsense. I mean, it's got mermaids, poison apples, an old lady who forces you to babysit her bird. But compared to the first game, the world is bigger and slightly less deadly. The puzzles are still baffling, and Graham still dies in increasingly dumb ways. And yet, at the end of it all, he gets the girl, Valanice, a woman so patient she just sits in a tower forever, waiting for a man she's never met. Ranking? It's romantic, sure. Logical? Absolutely not. I'm gonna have to put this one pretty low. I think I'm gonna put it The Enchanted Mirror is Cracked. All right. King's Quest III, To Err is Human, 1986. This time, King's Quest does something pretty unexpected. It doesn't start with Graham, and instead you meet Gwydion, a young servant boy living under the rule of evil wizard Manananan. Manananan? Manananan. Manananan. Manananan? Evil wizard Mananan. Mananan. Mananan? Mananan. Instead, we meet Gwydion, a young servant boy living under the rule of the evil wizard Mananan, whose entire personality is just murderous paranoia. Gwydion's life is a nightmare. He has to sweep floors, cook meals, and not get caught stealing, or Mananan will vaporize him on sight. It's like Cinderella, but instead of a fairy godmother, you have permadeath. This game is the first in the series to have a real unfolding story. And plot twist, Gwydion is actually Prince Alexander, Graham's long-lost son. Which means that yes, this entire game is about child abduction. And yet, that's not the weirdest part. The game is absolutely brutal, with real-time events, an inventory system designed to punish you, and a mandatory spellbook that requires you to type exactly right or face instant failure. But once you escape, the adventure opens up, and it feels incredible. So it's horrible in the first half, but it has a great payoff. Also, it's the first time we get a real story and meet Prince Alexander. I'm gonna put it at a quest worth taking, mostly. Okay, King's Quest IV, The Perils of Rosella. Rosella, Graham's teenage daughter, takes center stage in this one. And it turns out she's not messing around. This is the first King's Quest game and possibly adventure game to have a female protagonist. And unlike her father and brother who go on quests for political or romantic reasons, Rosella does it because Graham is literally dying. She stumbles into the land of Tamir, where she has to save her dad and defeat an evil sorceress all before breakfast. This game is a technical marvel. It's the first King's Quest with a real daytime-nighttime cycle, which was just really cool, especially when you first see it. It's got cinematic cutscenes and genuinely terrifying moments, like the haunted house. Rosella is a fantastic protagonist. She's resourceful, clever, and the only member of the royal family with actual common sense. Unfortunately, the game also carries the Sierra curse. If you miss one crucial item early on, you're doomed. So I want to rank this as like a pioneering moment for women in games, and it definitely had an effect probably on young girls, and it was also just really cool. I actually really like The Perils of Rosella, so I'm gonna put it here, a royal decree of excellence. All right, now we're getting into it, guys. King's Quest V, Absence Makes the Heart Go Yonder. We're becoming increasingly punny, and for the first time, King's Quest is fully voice acted. Graham returns, but before he can enjoy his retirement, the entire castle and his family is kidnapped by an evil wizard. Why does this keep happening? Luckily, a talking owl named Cedric is here to help. And by help, I mean yell unhelpful warnings, while contributing absolutely nothing.
Graham, watch out! A poisonous snake!
The game is visually stunning, but the puzzles? Chaos. I hope you like backtracking a lot, because if you didn't throw a boot at a cat 5 screens ago, you can't win the game. Sorry. It's gorgeous, but the voice acting isn't great, and Cedric? It's not bad enough to be thrown into the bottomless chasm. And if I'm honest, I actually really like replaying King's Quest V. I'm gonna put it... Oh gosh, am I gonna have too many at 3? It's not awful. I'll put it at The Enchanted Mirror is cracked. Like, you could do without it. It's still okay. Oh, is that too hard? I don't know. I'm so conflicted. I'm gonna say 3. A quest worth taking mostly. All right. Oh, now this is it. This is the King's Quest game. It's got everything. King's Quest VI. Air Today, Gone Tomorrow. Made in 1992. This was actually the first King's Quest game I played, and I was automatically hooked. It's my favorite, and I know I'm not alone in that. It was written by Roberta Williams and Jane Jensen, and has a whole world full of lore and whimsy and mythology and multiple endings, and Robbie Benson as Alexander. It's objectively peak King's Quest. I don't have anything bad to say. Yeah, I'm actually working on a deep dive of King's Quest 6 as we speak, and I know that there are like so many others out there, but this game in particular meant a lot to me. I try to replay it like once a year, as silly as that may sound. So yeah, fit for a fairy tale. You go up there. All right, guys, two left. We have King's Quest 7, The Princeless Bride, which came out in 1994, and this one's pretty divisive. People either love it or they absolutely hate it. So this one's definitely the Disney movie of the series. It's very cartoony, it's full of whimsy. It stars Queen Valenice and Princess Rosella in a dual protagonist adventure to defeat the sorceress Militia. Militia? Militia. Yeah, so like I said, this game is divisive. The Disney animation is charming, but the tone is wildly inconsistent. Like when you play it, you're not quite sure if this is supposed to be a lighthearted adventure or just deeply unsettling. And maybe that's the point. I did really enjoy this one growing up, and I still really like King's Quest 7. I have to wonder if most of the divisiveness has more to do with the fact that it's two female protagonists. Um, but I can save that for another time. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to put it up here. A Royal Decree of Excellence. It had a great story. I liked that it wasn't fully about love, it was mother and daughter, and I don't know. I liked the dual protagonist thing a lot. I thought each of their storylines were compelling, and I loved most of the worlds. Falderal still gives me whiplash. Oh, I think we know where this one's going. All right, I guess it's time. I guess we have to talk about it. King's Quest 8. So, in previous games, we had King Graham, Princess Rosella, Prince Alexander, Princess Cassima, Queen Valenice. And in King's Quest 8, we get Connor. Just Connor. A random stable hand? I don't want to say peasant. What was he? He was in the stables. Connor. Just some random dude who becomes the unlikely hero when the mask of eternity, whatever that is, shatters. Unlike previous games, this was meant to be an action RPG rather than a point and click adventure. I think doing a hybrid of the two, like Quest for Glory did, would have been a better approach, but I'm not a game designer. Sierra tried something new, and for me, it didn't land. The charm, the whimsy, the finesse, the storytelling was all gone, replaced by clunky combat and uninspired level design. And Connor is the least interesting protagonist in the series. I really don't know why you'd throw away everything that you built up before that, like with the whole royal family that we came to know and love, and replace them with this person. I got this game when it first came out, and it was incredibly buggy. I don't think I could even play it, and I was so frustrated. And then when I finally was able to play it, I was more frustrated. Yes, so this is personal. King's Quest 8. Yes, so King's Quest 8, I don't even think you belong in the series. There are fan made games that are just so much better. So you're going into thrown into the bottomless chasm. Goodbye. And so our journey through ranking, reminiscing, and roasting King's Quest comes to a close. We've seen the series evolve from the humble pixels of King's Quest 1, where Graham walked like he was permanently bracing for a gust of wind, to the fully, beautifully voice-acted animated King's Quest VI, where Alexander delivers lines like he's auditioning for a Shakespearean tragedy. The magic of King's Quest isn't just in its fairy tales, its brutal puzzles, or a sheer number of times you could die. It's in its sense of adventure, the feeling that anything's possible, as long as you're willing to look under every rock, talk to every creature, and try every single verb in existence before finally consulting a walkthrough. And yes, the series has its missteps, but even when King's Quest stumbled, it never lost its spirit. It was always ambitious, pushing boundaries, and always ready to kill you for standing in the wrong place. It may have started as a simple adventure about a knight on a quest, but King's Quest became something more. It became a legend of whimsical fantasy, unexpected humor, and never-ending questions. So whether you played these games on a DOS machine, through a fan remake, or just watched a let's play of someone screaming at the game's logic, one thing's for certain: the spirit of King's Quest lives on. And if you ever find yourself in a strange land, facing impossible odds, with nothing but your wits and endless pockets full of seemingly useless objects, well, you'll know exactly what to do. Oh, and before you go, let me know how you'd rank the games. I'm really interested. Which King's Quest game made you fall in love with the series? Which ones made you throw the keyboard across the room? And most importantly, what do you think of Connor? Drop your rankings, your rants, your favorite ridiculous deaths in the comments. I can't wait to hear your tales of King's Quest triumphs and tragedies. Until next time, may your quests be royal, your puzzles solvable, and remember, always save before encountering a goat.